Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel once again. Thank you for liking and subscribing my channel. To those who are back again, thank you so much. And here we go. This channel that I'm keeping it is like an activity to keep myself busy during this lockdown, and if it goes well, I will continue and update all my activities that's going on in my personal life, and I hope you will enjoy. So here we go. This is a new activity, or this is a new idea that I came up with. I will be reading a Bible every day and keeping it updated. So I'll start from the book of Genesis and will read till the end, and I will read every single pages and will see myself how it goes. And here we go. This is a special gift from one of my favorite father, and this is a new community Bible. I hope I believe everyone have heard and read about the Bible many times, and it won't be of much need, but as for me, I've not read it personally, all the pages, so I hope you will support me in this journey, and will your subscription, your views and your likings will give me more of interest. I've thought of reading it many times before, but if I read it alone, sometimes I just go out of track and I stop reading it. So here, if I'm just thinking it, if I'm reading it here on the YouTube channel, it will be kind of a duty or compulsion or compulsory for me to read and update, and I hope you guys will support me. Here we go. Let me start from the beginning. The book of Genesis, and I'll start with the introduction. The word Genesis comes from the Greek language and signifies beginning or origin. The book explains the origins of the world and Israel's place in it. Genesis narrates sacred history from its commencement at the time of creation and rounds it off with the account of the Israelites' descent into Egypt. The book can be neatly divided into two parts. The first part is the primeval history, and the second part is the patriarchal history. Genesis 1 to portray creation as it came from the Creator's hand, that is, in a perfect state. All the human needs were provided for, and man, woman, and God lived together in perfect harmony. They trusted each other and enjoyed each other's company, walking together in the Garden of Eden in the cool of the day. This golden age was abruptly brought to an end by human disobedience when Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit. This disobedience and rebellion led to their expulsion from the garden. Worse and more widespread sin led to the destruction of mankind by the flood. Yet God started again, and with a new race headed by the righteous Noah. Unfortunately, he faltered, and his son Ham sinned as well. And the process of sin enslaving mankind was repeated over and over, culminating in the dispersal of the nations at Babel. God started anew with Abraham, the forefather of Israel, and Genesis shows how God planned to restore the human race through him and his descendants. Patriarchal history is essentially the history of God's promises to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose descendants will inherit the land of Canaan. It should be noted that the sacred history transpires on two levels, the divine and the human. On the human level, the sacred history involves sin. For example, Jacob cheats his father Isaac, and his wife Rachel steals her father's idol. But in spite of sin, God's design go ahead. For in the final analysis, it is not the human will but Lord's will that reigns supreme. What is truly amazing is the frequency with which the motive of blessing appears in this book. The whole humanity is blessed. Then, as we go along, Adam, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph receive blessings. Genesis is also a story of faith. The story of Abraham's trust has always been central to biblical theology. God's absolute lordship over history is strongly stressed in the book. Although Genesis tells a story about the origin and the history of the world and Israel's ancestors, it never claims that it is primarily interested in verifying or teaching about the facts involved. In other words, Genesis is not a book of history. We should not seek in Genesis an exact explanation of astronomy or geology or the origins of the physical world that science today gives. Science today is able to tell us that our planet is about 4.5 billion years old. It can further tell us that simple form of life first appeared on it about a billion years later, and more complex forms of life began about 600 billion years ago. Fully developed human beings possessing intelligence and looks as we have now begin to appear at least 40 million or maybe 4 million 4 and 5 zeros years ago. We should not also hope to find an accurate and complete record of ancient history in the page of Genesis. The author knew only so much of these things, and most of it was borrowed from the Babylonian and other contemporary literatures and limited by the author's cultural background. On the other hand, the authors of Genesis had a sharp vision of who God was and how human beings were to act in relationship with this God. So we can expect that Genesis will provide a very readable, literate, entertaining, and edifying series of stories, poems, laws, and other literary pieces that will pursue us to the truth about what God does and wills. Its purpose is religious, and it should not lead to belief. It should lead to belief, personal commitment, and conversion to God in worship and obedience. So this is the introduction, and let me go ahead and continue with the real book. So real chapter, I should say. The book of Genesis 1. In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth had no form and was void. Darkness covered the depth, while the Spirit of God hovered over the waters. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that Light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. There was evening and there was morning the first day. God said, "Let there be a dome between the water, and let it separate them." So God made the dome and separated the waters below it from the waters above it. And so it was. God called the dome sky. There was evening and there was morning the second day. God said, "Let the waters above the sky be gathered together in one place, and let dry land appear." So it was. God called the dry land earth, and the waters gathered together he called seas. God saw that it was good. God said, "Let the earth burst forth with vegetation, seed-bearing plants, and fruit trees upon the earth that bear fruit with seed in it, each according to its kind." And so it was. The earth produced vegetation, plants bearing seeds, each of its kind, and trees producing fruit which has seed in it, each of its kind. God saw that it was good. There was evening and there was morning, the third day. God said, "Let there be light in the dome and the sky, dome of the sky, to separate day from night, and to indicate festivals, days, and years. And let them be light in the dome of the sky to shine on the earth." And so it was. God thus made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day, and the smaller light to govern the night. And God made the stars as well. God placed them in the dome of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate the lights from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. There was evening and there was morning the fourth day. God said, "Let the waters swarm with an abundance of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the dome of the sky." God created the great monsters of the sea and all creatures that move and with which the water teem, according to their kinds, and every kind of winged bird, each according to its kind. God saw that it was good. God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the waters of the sea, and let the birds increase on the earth." There was evening and there was morning, the fifth day. God said, "Let the earth bring forth every kind of living creatures, cattle, creatures that crawl along the ground, and wild animals of every kind." And so it was. God created every sort of wild animals, cattle, and every different things that creep along the ground. God saw that it was good. God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the sky, and over the cattle, over, over all the wild animals, and over all living things that creep along the ground." So God created man in his image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea and birds of the sky, and every living creature that moves on the ground." God said, "I give you every seed-bearing plant which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree that bears fruit with seed. They will be your food. To every wild animal, to every bird of the sky, to everything that creeps along the ground, to everything that has the breath of life, I give every green plant for food. And so it was. God saw all that he had made, and indeed it was very good. And there was evening and there was morning, the sixth day. That was the way the heavens and the earth were created, and all their vast areas. By the seventh day, the work of God had done was completed, and he rested on the seventh day from all the work he had done. And God blessed the seventh day and made it holy. So this is all for today. God, how God created the heaven and the earth, and how Sundays were created, and how he rested on this day. So thank you so much for watching, and I will continue this tomorrow, and you I hope you accompany me tomorrow as well. So I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.